Good morning, America! As the days grow shorter, a familiar crispness begins to perfume the air. Our thoughts inevitably turn to the season ahead. Will this winter be mild and gentle, or will it bring the kind of snowstorms and deep freezes we tell stories about? This annual curiosity is something we all share. A ski resort operator in Colorado hoping for fresh powder, a city planner in Chicago prepping snowplows, and even the family in Florida wondering about heavy jackets. It's more than idle chit-chat. It helps us plan our lives, our businesses, and our safety. The excitement around the first long-range forecast is palpable. Advanced satellite data, complex computer models, and a growing understanding of global climate patterns, ocean temperatures thousands of miles away, and atmospheric oscillations high above the Arctic. Putting these pieces together turns wonder into actionable knowledge. On the cusp of winter 2025-26, let's review the preliminary data. When we talk about long-range winter forecasts, you often hear us mention terms like El Niño or La Niña. These are the two famous phases of a pattern called the El Niño Southern Oscillation, ENSO. But what happens when the ocean is neither significantly warm nor cool? That's a neutral phase. A neutral ENSO means Pacific SSTs hover near their long-term average. Our Goldilocks, just right. Neutral doesn't mean boring. Neutral winters can be dynamic and unpredictable. This winter is shaping up neutral, slightly La Niña leaning. Historically, weak or neutral patterns have yielded memorable cold and snow in the central and eastern U.S. Without strong ENSO locks, the jet stream can wobble, intensifying air mass clashes. Frigid air diving south meets rich southern moisture, prime ingredients for impactful storms. The result? A highly variable season from December through February that keeps us on our toes. With ENSO neutral, other players, like the North Atlantic and the polar-vortex, gain influence. While the tropical Pacific is neutral, the North Pacific is unusually warm, among the warmest on record heading into winter. That warmth heats the air above and fosters a persistent ridge of high pressure. Meteorologists call this a positive PNA. Ridge west, downstream impacts east, push the jet up in the west, and it must dip in the east. The buckling jet creates a deep eastern trough, an open door for Arctic air. That trough becomes a superhighway for frigid air pouring into the plains Midwest, Great Lakes, and east. It's an atmospheric seesaw, warm west, cold east. The exceptional North Pacific warmth boosts confidence that this pattern will dominate winter 2025-26. Expect milder conditions near the Pacific while the heartland and east face recurring cold intrusions. The positive PNA is the crucial driver linking ocean heat to our continental winter story. The temperature forecast paints a stark divide across the nation. From California through the Pacific Northwest, a warmer-than-average winter is favored. Confidence is high thanks to a persistent high-pressure ridge. Cities like Seattle, Portland, and Los Angeles will see fewer cold snaps and more mild days. In mountain zones, warmer air can shift snow to rain and speed snowmelt, key for water supply. East of the divide, the jet's dive drags repeated waves of Arctic air southward. From the northern plains across the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and into the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, colder than average. The coldest core centers over the Midwest and Great Lakes. Cities like Chicago, Minneapolis, Detroit, Boston, and New York should prepare for a winter that packs a punch. This temperature divide is one of our clearest, most confident signals this season. Precipitation also splits along clear lines. The southwest and parts of the southern plains lean drier than average as the ridge blocks storms and moisture. The main storm track is often shunted northward. That could stress reservoirs and prolong drought concerns. The Pacific Northwest, though warmer, can still run slightly wetter with deflected storms. Two main tracks emerge: fast Canadian clippers and a moisture-rich southern-eastern route. Clippers bring light, fluffy snows and reinforcing cold. Southern storms tap the Gulf and Atlantic, energizing the Gulf states, southeast and east coast. From the deep south to the northeast, above-average precipitation is likely, fuel for significant winter weather. Two hotspots stand out: the Great Lakes and the East Coast. Lake effect ignites when bitter air crosses relatively warm lake water. This year features persistent cold and unusually warm lakes, prime ingredients. Expect intense, prolonged events and hefty totals in traditional snowbelts. Communities like Buffalo, Watertown, Erie, and Michigan's UP should be on high alert. A favored track develops in the deep south and rides up the eastern seaboard. Atlantic-fed moisture collides with locked-in cold over the mid-Atlantic and New England. That classic clash can paralyze cities from Washington, D.C. to Boston. Converging storm tracks with ample cold air put the interior Northeast and Mid-Atlantic in the bullseye. While coasts may mix rain and snow, the odds of one or two very large disruptive snow events are notably high. By blending temperature and precipitation, we map where snowfall chances run above or below average. Warm, dry areas, especially the Southwest and Southern California, trend below average. The Pacific Northwest may be wetter, but warmth confines snow to higher peaks. Sierra snowpack could be reduced, critical for next year's water supply. In contrast, much of the eastern half favors above-average snowfall. The northern plains, Montana, and the Dakotas catch both Pacific energy and clippers. From the Midwest and Ohio Valley through the Great Lakes and Northeast, frequent storms meet entrenched cold. Lake effect, clippers, and nor'easters combine for high-confidence snowier than normal odds. Snow lovers in cities like Chicago, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia could be in for a memorable winter. A major wild card is a potential polar vortex disruption, when strong cold stays locked in the Arctic. When weakened, lobes plunge south. This winter's ridge west, trough east favors such disruptions. One or more Arctic blasts could drive severely below normal temps in the plains, upper Midwest, and Great Lakes. Another wild card, occasional deep south snow if Gulf storms pull in enough cold. Northern Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, maybe even the Florida Panhandle, could see rare flakes. We're not calling for historic southern snows, but the opportunity exists. It only takes one or two perfectly aligned storms to create a memorable event. Together with vortex risks up north, this underscores how dynamic the season could be. As we wrap up this first look at winter 2025-26, remember, this is a preliminary forecast. Think of it as a sketch, not a finished painting. Based on signals as of October 6, 2025, neutral ENSO and an exceptionally warm North Pacific. Expect warm and dry in the west and southwest. Cold and snowy in the central and eastern U.S. Small shifts, like the jet's position, can change storm outcomes for millions. We'll refine this outlook as new data and model runs arrive. We're tracking the polar vortex, evolving storm tracks, and global signals. Use this guide for early planning. Service snow gear in the Midwest and Northeast, and conserve water in the Southwest. Stay tuned. The winter story is still being written, and we'll bring you each new chapter. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon with the next update.